Yes, we are live. Hello and welcome to Further Together, Enriching Relationships, Creating Your Better Future. Your friends here, Kudzie and Priscilla. We are back again live this week.
And yes, we are going to have a good time tonight. I am so excited to be amongst you guys, to be together so that we can together share the experiences that we've gone through and how to enrich our relationships.
Last week we were discussing about
The bad
bad
habits.
habits in communication, and we were quite happy that it's not only us who had those flaws, but we also discovered that some of you guys there, you were mentioning some of the things that you
Yeah.
have encountered or you were struggling with. So it's good to know that
It's
it's
not
it's universal. Those who are in
Mhm.
Africa are suffering the very same challenges
Yeah.
that those who are in the UK and in the Caribbean and Asia are also facing. So we are here this week to take it a little bit more further. But before we do that, we just want to say hi to those who are joining us. And by the way, we are here every Thursday. So if you are just joining us, please know that every Thursday we'll be here 8 o'clock UK time. And apart from the live broadcast, which we always do, we also have mentorship sessions that we do. We have the pre-marriage course, which we encourage most people who wants to get into marriage to put their mind and their heads into. And what we have discovered, which is very much surprising. We were sharing notes with our one of our mentors, Reverend Maforo, who is in the United States, and we were saying to him, we have discovered that one of the challenges that married people are struggling with are things that they could have avoided had they gone for the pre-marriage course. And he was also echoing the same sentiment that, what, with him, he have sat down with a lot of couples and he will end up taking them more or less to a pre-marriage course, which is quite important. So if you haven't done it, even if you are married, if you feel like there are more than 70 questions that you go through, you might see that it will also help you. Who is there tonight? If you are just joining us, please show us by making a comment on Facebook, so we'll know, and we'll also appreciate you whilst Priscilla is sharing. Um we just finished the Euro 2020, though it was Euro 2020 in 2021, and it was quite a challenging moment for me and my children. Of course, Priscilla was coming in here and there, but me and my children. It was a
challenge for me as well.
We were so passionate about the game, and my son, who is a footballer, there's one thing that I learned from my son, Tanaka, who is a footballer. When we were at the penalty shootouts, when the first guy from Italy missed, I was celebrating, and my son said, "Dad, these are penalties. These are penalties. It's too early. With penalties, you only celebrate when the game is finished." And lo and behold, he was just sitting there. He was on the edge, and England couldn't make it. And he said, "Dad, I told you, with penalty shootouts, you can only celebrate when the whole game is finished." So I learned something from my son.
Yeah.
Yes, we are back again. Last week we spoke about
the bad habits that ruin relationships. And I was so happy as well that a lot of us guys were engaging. You were sharing your experiences. You were sharing with us, your own bad habits that ruin relationships. And we were able to learn from one another. And we are hoping that tonight will be as interactive as it was last night. Hazel Much, thank you for joining
it's
us.
Good to see you.
We love you so much. If you
I
want
love
us, yeah, he loves you, yeah, and I'm okay with that. Yes. So if you're there, you've joined us. Please do just give us a thumbs up. Let us know you're watching, and we can acknowledge you.
And this week we are going to share levels of communication, and these levels are quite important. We communicate every day, but I like the Bible. It has stories that makes us to understand life. And in the book of Acts, there's a guy by the name, a guy who was riding his chariot. He's an African guy. He was riding his chariot and he was reading the book of Isaiah, and he was reading very loud. And whilst he was reading, he had an encounter with a man called Philip, and he asked him, "Do you understand what you read?" And the guy says, "How do I understand if there's nobody to interpret the scriptures for me, or if there's nobody to explain it for me?" And immediately he called Philip. He said, "Come inside," and he invited him in his chariot, and they began to walk together as Philip was interpreting scriptures for him. And I have discovered that in marriages sometimes, or in relationships, we do communicate, but sometimes we do not understand each other because there is no full interpretation of what the other person is saying, or the other person is not fully communicating what they want to say.
And you know what? Sometimes we're just speaking on different levels. Hence, we've titled tonight levels of communication. And you know, sometimes you encounter moments where you are like, do you know what? You're not getting me. I am communicating. You are communicating. We are both speaking, but we are speaking on different levels. And because we are on these different levels, we then fail to understand each other. And really, the whole essence of in marriage, of us building strong emotional connections, is when, if we can understand each other, then we can build strong emotional connections. And last week we were on, you know, listening, how those bad listening are habits. And tonight we are going into the talking aspect, communicating. What are those levels of communication so that we can work together?
Yeah, so tonight we're going to share three levels of communication. There are a number of them, but we have just picked out these three levels of communication, and we think that they do house some of the levels that we might not have picked in. And level number one of communication that we have seen, or communication, is passing information. And we have discovered that as couples do communicate at some point, they reach a point whereby everybody wants to play safe, and they only communicate to pass information, which is it's called the basic or the shallow level of communication. And if you are married, or if you're in a relationship and your communication level only ends at passing information, which is just the surface level, then you'll discover that you will never know each other more, and your relationship will not go deeper. Why? Because it's only on that surface. And on that surface, normally we just discuss. If you are in the UK, we normally discuss about the weather. Oh yeah, it's gonna be cold tonight, or winter is summer is not coming. You know, it's gonna be raining.
And sometimes if you have children, again, children, you can just discuss issues to deal with children.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you can even go on a holiday with your husband and then find that your whole discussion is just on a shallow level. You know, children, oh, I miss the kids, you know, speaking about the weather, speaking about sports. So this is, you know, the first level, being that shallow level of communication, where you're not communicating beyond, you know, the basics, beyond the surface. You're just talking on a very superficial level.
Very superficial. And we have discovered, I think now 3 times or so, we have received messages from those whom are working with, after we have probably given them a homework or something, and they'll come back and say, you know what, we only discovered that all along we were not discussing about anything else. We were just having that superficial kind of a discussion. So whenever they want to speak now, to go deeper and speak about their marriage, they discovered that they begin now to knock heads. Why? Because it's a level that they have never been to. Yes, they were all playing safe. It's a level where we are playing safe. I don't want to go deeper into them, and they don't want to get deeper into my one. As men, we always do this if we go for events, and my wife always laugh at me that I can meet somebody at an event, probably at a party, at a barbecue. We're standing together on the barbecue stand, and we are having barbecue, we're sharing meat, drinks, and all this stuff. And when we finish, we are now going home. My wife will say, oh, what's the name of that guy you were standing with? And I'll say to you, which one? Oh, you mean that boss man who was in a red shirt? And he said, no, but his name is not Bossman.
Yeah.
He said, oh, so how are you communicating with him? I said, oh yeah, I was just saying to him, Bossman. And I can spend, 2 or 3 hours that I'm saying to you, oh, Bossman, please, can you pass me water? Oh, Bossman, I'm coming. And it just ends on Bossman, and we don't talk much. We don't discuss about where you work and all the stuff. Oh, the fire is getting down. Oh, this meat is good. Oh, this is where you buy spice. We are just informing each other bits and pieces without getting deeper.
And really, sometimes as couples, we find ourselves, just communicating at that social or superficial level where we are not saying anything meaningful or anything important, especially for our growth and for our emotional connection. Sometimes depending on the level that you find yourself in your marriage, sometimes things you're going through the lows, turbulent moments, and you just don't even know what to say. So you'll just be answering one word answers. For some people, if husband and wife work different hours, you just be communicating, I've left food in the microwave,
pick up the
kids and do this, do that.
We need the money for the maid, the bills, the bills.
Yes, really, there's nothing very important. For some people, you might have started out very well. You may have started out, communicating effectively, and then you get to this level where you are just unable to communicate at a deeper level.
And to those, we have worked with pastors and those who are in the ministry, and you discover that to those who are in the ministry and pastors, their discussion will now be more about the church, what is happening with the church, how best can we do these events that are coming, how are we going to do with the events, and who are we expecting to come, and their marriage is just stuck in the corner there. They are not talking about it, and they are not getting into their own emotional needs. So that's level number one.
Level number one, which is the shallow level, the superficial level. We are just, just talking about the basics.
Passing information.
And the second level is the level where you're sharing ideas and opinions. You're talking at that mental level where you're communicating the ideas and the opinions that you have.
Of late, I've been privileged to speak to a number of men who are in the diaspora, mainly my senior brothers who are above the age of 45. I'm yet to reach there. And they have this idea of going back home. And the way they do communicate about their ideas, to them, they have reached a point of thinking that I have told my wife that this is what I'm going to do. And yet they are only sharing their passion. That this is my passion, and by so doing, you have not told your wife this is what you want to do. And it became a little bit worse when one went to Zimbabwe, and he's right down there in Zimbabwe. He did 1, 2, 3 things, and then he called his wife to say, now I'm ready.
It's time to come.
Everything is ready. You're about to come. And the wife is saying, I cannot come. We did not agree about that. And the guy is saying, yeah, but I told you. And the wife is saying, you were only sharing with me that if we were to go to Africa, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do that. So you were sharing me your ideas, you were sharing me your opinion about Zimbabwe, how you think Zimbabwean life should be led by somebody who came from the diaspora. But it did not reach that level where we were, heart to heart. So you left on your own accord without getting deeper into understanding what I think and what I feel about this. It was just your ideas and your opinions.
Guys, if you can resonate one way or the other, do let us know in the comment section. Do let us know if you can relate, if you've communicated on such a level where you're just sharing ideas and opinions. This is what I think, this is what I'm planning to do, and it doesn't go beyond that. And really, as people in relationship, you can mistake it as I have agreed with my wife, and really the wife is like, we didn't agree. You just told me that this is what you wanted to do. You just told me what your idea was, but we did not come to that level of agreement. Why? Because probably the other spouse did not understand what it meant and what it feels for the other person. So this is another, which is a second level, a little bit on the higher than just passing information. At least you're going beyond, where you're sharing your thoughts, where you're sharing your mental state of mind.
And this level is quite dangerous in the sense that many times when you sit down with couples, the other person will be saying, I said this and you shut down my idea. I said I wanted to buy a denim suit and you forbid me from buying the denim suit which I wanted 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And the thing is, she did not forbid you or he did not forbid you, but she only said, you were sharing it as an idea, as an opinion, and she also shared her opinion that I don't think it would be nice on you. It was just her thought because you were also sharing. So it's her thoughts and his thoughts. So these two things, you did not share anything that was deeper. And she only answered thinking that, you know what? It's just an idea. It's just an idea. So once you share it as an idea, we'll receive it as an idea.
As an idea, absolutely. And we're going to move to the third level, which we'll call the final level for tonight, which is the deeper level of communication, you know, the emotional communication, where we are now, you know, talking heart to heart, where you're sharing your feelings, your emotions, and you're really expressing what's going inside of you.
Level number 3 of communication is quite dangerous because if care is not taken, if there is no maturity in the relationship, you may miss each other. Why? Because the other person could be communicating deeply, whilst the other one is just thinking that you are informing me. And if that happens, then the other part feels like I'm being taken for granted. And they did not hear me. They do not care about me. I don't feel loved. So this is the level where we sit down and we discuss about those things that are, you know, dangerous. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking to Pastor John Luke, who was one of our guests here. And I was sharing with him one of the incidents that once happened at when I was working at my workplace, that there's this girl who was so much in love with me. This girl loved me so much. And I thought she was loving me as a sister. I was so blinded. It was a brother and sister for me, but to her, she was seeing the next candidate, a potential candidate. So we were having this good relationship at work, and I would come home because with my wife, we communicate at a deeper level. So I would share with her, you know what, Priscilla, oh, look what happened, or this is what happened, oh, that lady did this, or that lady once said that, and
lady bought
so
this.
It came to a point that this lady bought, you know, thank God that I was, you know, sharing with Priscilla. So I was being vulnerable to her, you know, this is what is happening. So this lady, she bought me chocolates, and she brought them, and she knows that I don't like chocolate. So she said, oh yeah, I just bought this chocolate. I know you don't like chocolates, but I know Priscilla likes them. So ignorantly and innocently, I took the chocolates, I went and gave them to my wife. And Priscilla said, this lady who is giving you chocolates, the way she's doing, because she is very instinctive, more than me in most things. And women are just like that. Then sooner or later, this lady came with a dress, a very beautiful, expensive dress. And she said, oh, I bought this dress, but it doesn't suit me well. And I think your wife will like it.
And it will suit her very well.
It will suit her very well. So when I discovered that I couldn't fit the dress, I just thought, why not give it to your wife? So she gave me the dress. I carried the dress. I was so happy, you know. I thanked her. I gave her a hug, and I'm thinking, oh, what a beautiful woman who is thinking about my wife back home. I went, I gave it to my wife, and my wife hold the dress.
Me, I was like, red flag and number 2. Said, red flag number 2. This woman, a friend of yours, who is giving you stuff for me.
You are gone. And this lady is somebody who at one given, many times Priscilla would visit me at work. So she would see Priscilla, hi Priscilla. So she knew Priscilla, not at a personal level, but you know, they knew each other, they could talk and all this stuff at a distance. And now my wife warned me. Now here is when this deeper conversation is needed. we had to sit down and we had to discuss messages. What sort of messages does she send you? How do you communicate when you're at work? And I'm now being vulnerable, because if I'm not vulnerable to her, I can be vulnerable to that woman at work. I can be a prey. I was about to be prayed, because
you guys are laughing. Tell us why you're laughing.
They are
communicate if you resonate.
You know, she is ticking the boxes in terms of the woman I would like. You know, she ticks the boxes. And now
Rumi says studying the competition. Exactly.
So now Priscilla is talking to me. And when I went to sit down with her to start to share that, you know what, I respect the fact that you have been doing all these things for me, but I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. I'm highlighting my things. Then from being good friends, we became the worst enemies at our workplace. She did not want to talk to me. She did not want to call me. I had declared, you know, an enemy of state from that moment. Why? Because I became vulnerable to her. I shared with her the things that which were happening at my workplace.
And so, guys, this level of communication, like what you're saying, that it requires vulnerability and it requires trust as well.
Trust and maturity.
You know, trust and maturity, because imagine sometimes we get this. Your husband wants to be vulnerable. Your husband wants to tell you exactly what is going on. These eyes, they see, you know, you go out, you see beautiful women, and sometimes you are drawn in. It is nature. These are things that happen. But is your husband going to be vulnerable enough to come and tell you that, you know what, babe, I saw something that confused me, you know, I saw something that confused me. Help me out. How do I come out of, you know, this thing? Because if I don't share, if I don't become vulnerable with you, I am going to become vulnerable to someone else. And really, yes, black artistry, they do see the eyes, they see.
Oh, you think I'm because I'm older than you, I know they see sharp.
They see either you're a man of God or I don't know, a man of
you are a woman of God.
Yes.
You know, this is that level where one of my brothers, I'm not going to mention his name, but I believe you allow me to share this, that his wife at her workplace had this guy who was the boss, who was eyeing his wife. And so the guy was so much crazy about my brother's wife that when he enjoyed seeing her back view.
Yes, because she's generous.
She's generously given. She's generously given. You know, the back view is quite, you know, it's a scene that God created, you know, taking time. So this boss and my sister, you used to sit together at, you know, like on the same area, but the photocopying machine was right at the far end in the office. So the boss would say, oh, can you go and photocopy the papers for me?
Like Priscilla, go and
photocopy. And as she's going to photocopy, you know, the guy is staring and, you know, he's licking his lips, looking at my brother's wife. And so once in a while, it so happened that, you know, instinctively she would look back and the way he's looking at me, you know, the way
am I the only one in the office?
Now she came back to kind of, you know, you're kind of trying to look at others. Are they seeing this? And people begin to point at it and say, you know, the way you're being sent to photocopy, the photocopying lady, you're being sent to photocopy. Now, because these people, they do share information at a deeper level.
Yes.
The wife was able to come to the husband and say, look here, the way this guy is treating me and the way he's looking at me, there is something more than just working together. And now my life is at risk.
Yeah. And then together they had to find a solution. You know, if it meant that the husband is saying, you know what, I'm not going to allow my wife to be going to this work where this man will be sending him to photocopy and be looking at a back view, what will be our way out? So what we are saying is that this deeper level, you know, communicating at an emotional level, you know, it takes vulnerability. You've got to be vulnerable. because it's about you explaining what's going on in the inside of you. You know, and another incident that I recall very well was a time when you say to me, you know, I feel neglected.
Yes.
You know, we were married, we were doing life, and I was on a different level. I thought like things were well between us. I thought we were having a good time. And then only for you to call me and say, you know what, let's have a conversation. And you say to me, I feel neglected, yes, I feel lonely. And those were your feelings, yes, in that moment. Yes. Those were your feelings, and you were connecting at that deeper level. But if I'm not willing to allow you to be vulnerable, you can pretend all you like that, you know, we are on the same level. Things are fine.
I'm with you.
You know, I'm with you. We are on the same page. Yes. But really, we are not. We are not. So that level is the ultimate goal in every marriage. Is your spouse able to come to you and share with you their feelings? You know, tell you that I don't feel loved. I don't feel, I don't, because it's a feeling. It's a feeling. You have to take it.
And there's a danger that if we do not reach the deeper level of communication with our spouses, with your wife or your husband, as human beings, we will always find somebody to share those deeper levels with. And I'm repeating this. That's the reason why sometimes you find out those self-styled pastors and prophets, they take advantage of certain people. Why? Because when they go there, they give them that deeper level of communication. They share their feelings, they share their fears. So be there for your spouse, that they will share their feelings, they will share their fears. What are you afraid of?
Sorry, can we read Pastor Stanley Navarro's comment that just struck me so hard? He says that he also had one guy, a leader in the church, who would buy his wife cake once in a while. And what did you do?
I withstood that guess. That gesture. Yes. You know, it comes in as a good gesture. But the good thing, Pastor Stan, is because Mama told you that this is what this guy is doing.
Sometimes women just receive
it. She'll receive it
at work, and they will just
shut the mouth, and you know, you never know that these things are happening. Why? Because there is no deeper level. So you are communicating. Oh, how was work? Work was good. It was raining. I ran late. The transport was horrible, and that and that and that and that. You are not getting into the deeper levels. The moment you get into the deeper levels, that's when you know that there's somebody who is pursuing my wife.
And all the skeletons, really, that is where
that's when you come out. Yes. And I know for those who are not married yet, I remember one of my dear friends who was married to, who was in a relationship with somebody who was higher to do in life. So the guy was asking this lady, so what are your qualifications? What do you have as in educational level? Or at what level did you end when it comes to education? And this girl, because in all her relationships, she had never reached such deeper levels. She had to quickly cut off, because the guy is asking you things that you don't feel comfortable with, and yet you don't want to tell him, and yet you are going to be living with that person, and whatever comes in the house is coming from all of you. Whatever comes out of the house is coming from all of you. So this guy is saying, let's get ready here. We have been in a relationship and we are about to introduce each other to our families. Tell me, who are you? What do you have? And where are you coming from? And if these things are not said, then problem in the house. There will be problem once in a while.
Yes, guys. So ultimately, the goal is for us to attain this deeper level of communication, just to be open with one another, open about our feelings, open about our fears, open about what is going on within us, without the fear of being judged, the fear of being rejected, and all of that. So really, that is the ultimate goal in any relationship. The minute that, you know, as human beings, it's a basic need for emotional connection. And if I cannot be emotionally connected to you, God forbid, being a need, you seek outside. You seek that emotional connection outside.
Yes.
So let us make sure that we build it amongst ourselves.
Now, here's a question from Mary. Says, what about if they are defensive when you tell them that you are not comfortable with how they are getting along with these other women?
That is a very crucial one.
This is a very crucial question, and we have dealt with it as we are speaking right now. We got two couples that we are working with, and the other one started as, I'm helping a friend at work, and only for the wife later on to discover that the help has gone a little bit further. And now he admitted that we have got a relationship, but it's just an emotional one. We did not sleep together. We didn't have sex. It's just an emotional relationship. And upon asking, how did this relationship become that emotional? We discovered that the relationship moved through stages, and the husband did not want to admit when the wife was saying, I'm having this feeling. So he did not want to house the feeling of the wife. Why? Because his ego was being caressed that side. He was benefiting certain things. Sometimes you are benefiting. Sometimes it could be the praise that you are benefiting. You know,
sometimes it may have nothing to do with sexual. But just finding this woman who tell you, oh, you are awesome, you are wonderful, you are the man, you know, like I admire you. And sometimes
with this boy, it was his craft at work that the woman is saying, you know what, at this workplace, you're the only guy who is so smart and you can help me. So he started as helping the woman at work, and now he ended up helping the woman physically. And now they are now helping each other, booking a hotel, and you know, before you know it, this is what it is. So I think if you reach a point where one of the spouses is saying, I don't feel comfortable, it's an issue where you have to be open. Why is it that you're not feeling comfortable? Because whenever we don't feel comfortable, there are reasons behind that. And being defensive does not solve any issue. We are only putting it under the carpet, and sooner or later it will come up. And now when it comes up, it will be now the other part coming to this side, and then the other side will be saying, no, but I spoke about this, I no longer want to speak to you. And this is where we reach points whereby the other spouse is saying, oh, he did this and I'm leaving, I don't want to discuss about it. Why? Because when I wanted to discuss about it, you were not open enough.
And I'm going to add on that as well, that, you know what, the more we are vulnerable with one another, the more we can connect at the deeper level. Sometimes I may be uncomfortable, not because that is what it really is, but because of my past experiences. Some people naturally lack trust. Sometimes you may have experienced issues in your past where, you know, the man has went haywire. So when anything is happening with your spouse, you're thinking,
you are easily drawn to think
to the
of
things
those.
that have happened.
So you are judging the person whom you are living with based on what happened in your past relationship.
So we may need to just know, is it a trust issue on my side, or am I uncomfortable because really there's something fishy going on?
So there's no one answer to this, but over and above, if you are there and your spouse is seeking audience with you in regards to a specific topic, I would say give them time, understand them, understand where they are coming from, understand their fears, understand their vulnerabilities. You know, the book of Genesis said Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, they were both naked and not ashamed. So there shouldn't be anything that I'm ashamed to tell Priscilla. Nothing. And I'm saying this on social media. God forbid, nothing to the extent that, God forbid, if anything happens and I encounter a sexual relationship with a girl outside or with another woman outside, I will come and open up to her. I don't need to conceal it, because by concealing it, it means I'm enjoying it, I'm well with it, and I don't want you to know it.
Deep, and you may not be able to come out.
So there is nothing that I can say I cannot speak to her. It's when we are in a relationship, I have said this and I'm saying this again, that it's like going to a doctor. You have a boil on your private parts and you go to the doctor because the boil is making you limp.
Yeah.
When you go there, you say to the doctor, oh, my leg is hurting me.
Yeah.
No, it's not the leg. There's a boil on your private. There's that lump on your private. So tell the doctor, you know what? I've got a lump on my private part and it's burning. I can't pee, I can't do wee, I can't do anything. I'm not even wearing an underwear. But in most cases, we go to the doctor and we hide the infection.
Yeah.
Then the doctor gives us a treatment for a wrong infection. Yeah. And when we go back, we say, this doctor, he's not good at doing things. And
it's you.
We have discovered the same thing.
Go deeper with the doctor.
We have discovered the same thing as well when we were working with couples. Yeah. Couples, they get in touch with us and they'll tell you that, oh yeah, we are having a challenge. He doesn't like spending time with children. But as we get deeper into it, we'll discover that there is more. The issue is not about children at all. It's about what happened on their wedding day and they did not resolve it and they are still dragging that dirty linen with them. So let's be vulnerable and also let's go into details. If it is a feeling, share your feelings the way they are. I feel neglected. I feel this. I feel things are not working.
Yes.
Here and how best can you help?
Be receptive. If your spouse, to be honest, it's not easy to take it when your spouse is sharing with you at a deeper level. It requires maturity. Like I mentioned earlier, my spouse coming to me and telling me that they feel rejected. You, as a wife, you don't feel good when your spouse tells you that they feel lonely. You're like, hey, I'm here.
Am I not doing what I'm supposed to do?
Am I not doing what I'm supposed to? And by the way, we were having sex.
Yes.
We were having sex.
Yes.
Throughout that season, we never stopped having sex.
Definitely.
And to me, I'm thinking, man, how can you say you're feeling lonely? Last night,
I get yes, and you ate. I'm ironing for you.
I'm doing all these things. How can you feel that way? But really, it takes maturity for me to now be able to say,
understand.
Why are you saying this?
Where is this
Explain,
coming from?
Yes, because sometimes the areas that I may be feeling like these are the areas that will satisfy this need. In some cases, that's not it. Probably what you need is, that person who will just sit and listen. Sit and listen. And hence why we are coming with this issues and topics surrounding communication and effective listening. And you know what? One thing is that this doesn't come easy with some people.
Yes.
It doesn't come easy.
Especially with people like me. I'm the last born in my family. I grew up with my father. My father was a harsh man. Yeah. So there are certain things that I would dare not say. I'm a fighter. So things come my way. I want to solve them and fight, resolve them just on my own. Yeah. It takes, a lot of encouragement from my wife for me to say, you know what, these are my fears. I'm not one person who wants to share my fears. I feel like I have it, I will attack it, I will solve it until I have to deal with it my way. If it is a bill, I can take that envelope, stay with it in the car, look at it every morning, drive back to work, come back, and I will never tell my wife that, you know what, I owe this money and these people are threatening me. So I with so many men I know, a bill can come in and you look at the envelope and you know that, you know what, this bill is dangerous.
And now some people go all the way to commit suicide because they cannot share their feelings, they cannot share their fears, they cannot share what's going on, with their spouse.
Yes.
But what we are saying is that the ultimate goal, let's go beyond just sharing information.
Passing of information, let's go beyond sharing of ideas and opinions, and let's get into deeper level. So number one, passing information. That's the first level of communication. And when you are meeting as on dating, she's passing information. My name is so and so. I live. I like this. I do this. I like that. You are sharing information. Then from there, it has to move deeper to sharing of ideas. My idea about life, my opinion. Then when you are married now, it's those deeper levels of conversation. They are needed, and we have to sit down once in a while. Just make a date to get into deeper levels of communication.
Because if we don't do that, You know what? You can spend time with somebody, and then after 20 years, you realize that you're married to a stranger because they've evolved, they've changed over time, and you don't know who they are eventually. So let us strive to meet that ultimate goal in relationships, and that is the only way that we can be emotionally connected.
Yes, what more shall we say apart from saying thank you so much for giving us your precious possession, which is your time. Time permitting, God willing, we will meet again next week, same time, which is 8 o'clock UK time. Yes, Mujare Kurewa. How are you? God bless you, Mr. Madzikatire. It was good speaking to you, and our regards to Mrs. Yes, Pastor
Chipo, our prayer warrior. We love you so much.
Thank you so much for those prayers. They, anytime you send those prayers to us, they mean a lot. We know that you're always praying for us. Pastor Zata, greetings. How are you? Pastor Chido, it's lovely to see you. Rumbi, how are you? It's good to see you again. Madam Mary, thank you so much for hosting us last week, and we'll be coming again. We don't do one night stand. We keep on repeating these things. Pastor Stanley, how are you? And how is the ministry? Pastor Julie, my father-in-law, Chichena, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Black Artistry, it's good to see you. Yes, my in-law. You are hearing all these things. I want my daughter to be treated like a princess. She's a princess, and I want to see that.
Ted's Wamiambo, thank you for joining us tonight. If you haven't yet, please do share the broadcast. We'll be meeting you again next week, Thursday.
Thank you very much. For me and my beautiful wife, we are signing out. Till we meet again. God bless you.
Love you all. God bless you.